We all catch glimpses of our genius when we're doing something that lights us up, that activates us, that says, yes, this is what I'm meant to do on this earth. Sometimes it shows up at work. Sometimes it shows up outside of work, but we feel alive and we know we're doing what we're meant to do in a place we're meant to do it. But how many of us can say we live in that genius, that we tap into it on a weekly or daily basis? Not many can raise their hands, especially if you're in a corporate environment or working for an employer that has very strict role responsibilities for you. You can't flex that genius as much as you'd like, and therefore you can't be the person you're supposed to be, and then therefore you can't earn and make the impact that you're destined to make. We need to live more in our genius. So today, we reveal those possibilities of how to make it real, how to identify your genius, how do you dive into it, maximize it, and use it to get what you're worth in the work world and feel alive in your personal life. Let's dive in.
Growing up, society taught you to follow the script by choosing a career path and climbing the ladder. But for many people, this promise falls flat. Work suffocates them and life becomes painful. Here, you're trapped in what I call the corporate cage. Fortunately, there's a way out. You can take control of your corporate job and unlock a life of freedom. I call this living uncaged. Hi, this is your host, Matt Doan. I'm a coach, creator, and entrepreneur. Uncaging people is my mission because it's been my exact life journey. This show provides you the stories, principles, and tactics to make it happen. Welcome to Uncage Yourself.
10 years into my career, I found myself on a default path. It felt good for a long time, but eventually I started seeing what I was facing. All of this one-size-fits-all stuff, performance review criteria, rigid career ladders, forcibly having to build skills and interests that didn't actually excite me in the least, but I felt compelled to do. You probably know what this feels like. That's where growth comes from, right? Sure. Now, when you play these corporate games, they might produce some good outcomes. You've climbed the rungs of those ladder, and it produced good outcomes in your world, a financial cushion, skills, notoriety, the ability to level up, maybe get a new job outside of that company. It gave you a foundation, gave you a lifestyle, and we should be grateful for that. But over time, if you keep playing that game, keep staying on that default path, just following that rigid criteria that's handed down from above, that's going to start grating at you. It's going to hurt. And that, for me, created a huge problem. After 10 years in this system, it started to go against my natural talents and interests. I was having to do things, say yes to things, projects, skills that didn't interest me in the least. For example, I'm wired naturally as a big picture thinker, someone who lives in the clouds, likes looking at problems from high orbit. I love human psychology, building clever, simple frameworks. I like inspiring greatness in others, my teammates, my clients, all of that. Yet, for many years, I was stuck in a technical field in the realm of cybersecurity. And I was constantly criticized from leadership who valued technical abilities. They told me, you've got to stop living in the clouds, Matt. You're not detail-oriented enough, Matt. You're not analytical enough, Matt. And I kept being told I wasn't good enough. And it was a situation where my natural talents were being devalued. They weren't even given a chance. I saw how they could apply. I saw how they provided a huge difference and value for what I was doing at work, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter that I was delivering results or that I was leading successful teams or that my people loved me. I simply didn't fit the predetermined mold of that organization, of that corporation. Hey, do you have an impressive career on paper, but inside you feel trapped? Is this situation hurting your home life? If so, I'd like to show you exactly how to leverage your corporate career to build entrepreneurial freedom. Head on over to uncagedworkshop.com. There you'll find a short video training for how to create a new work-life chapter that rapidly boosts your freedom, income, and impact, all in service of a life that'll make your future self and your family proud. So head on over to uncagedworkshop.com. All right, back to the show. Every year, I was forced through those annual box checking reviews. You know, that annual review system where they pull out the check boxes and the criteria and they say, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you not well-rounded enough? All these things. It's green or red. It's a really uncomfortable situation to be in. And every year I was forced to go fill my weaknesses, go gap fill all the things I wasn't yet. Go do things in this technical area that don't interest you, Matt, because that's what the scorecard says you need to do. We don't care that you're great at psychology and understanding how clients might think or what their organizational cultures might be. No. We want you to be good at this technical thing like everybody else. Over time, as I heard that again and again, year over year, I found myself suppressing my natural talents, and it was killing my soul because I knew I was meant to unleash that to provide a ton of value. The worst thing is that I could see exactly how to deploy those talents in my current organization for my clients. And yet I was being told not to because it wasn't valued. That sucked. Eventually I started to feel dead inside. My health was declining. The more this built up inside of me, I was growing distant from my family. So this had some huge consequences where I wasn't allowed to just use my gifts. But then everything changed. I discovered the power of my unique zone of genius. Your zone of genius equals your core superpowers. Think of it as the intersection of your talents, interests, and perspectives. I'll leave a link in the show notes where you can look for a framework on exactly how you identify that zone of genius. So definitely check that out. It's a huge jumpstart. But identifying your zone of genius is just the start. You've got to ask, what do I do with it? Well, my mentors and coaches over the years, they taught me a vital principle to live by, and it's this: centralize your genius. This radically enhanced my professional and personal life when I took this to heart. I stopped conforming. I learned to pull my genius to the center of my life. For example, I engineered my corporate role to align with my zone of genius. I worked with leadership around me to say, this is what I know I'm great at. Here's how I can provide the most value. Rather than just be held to the standard criteria, I want to be held to these criteria, delivering these outcomes. Can we make it work? And eventually I got that wiggle room and was able to thrive, got more promotions, great bonuses and salary bumps because of it. I was bold enough to assert myself with my genius. Over time, I started exploring that genius more. I launched a side business tailored to my zone of genius where I was coaching others using my talents. I started to feel alive again, whether I was at corporate, whether I was doing my side business, or even at home. Because I was in alignment and I felt good about using my strengths and not just forcibly growing talents and skills I didn't value. I felt alive. Everybody felt it. Family, coworkers, clients, everyone. My genius became the center of my world. And I want you to think of this in your mind. You close your eyes, a hub and spoke model. In the center, you have a circle. That is your genius. It's this glowing orb of gold. It's so powerful. And then you have these spokes that go out like a bicycle. And those spokes are all the environments that you show up in, whether it's certain projects at work, whether it's building a business on the side, helping a good friend, how you are with your partner and kids. You can use that genius anywhere. It's not anything to do with your work exactly. For example, years ago, one of my first drafts of my zone of genius was this. I was able to uncover hidden truths, spark fires within people, open their eyes to possibilities so that they live freedom-filled lives. Now, I can bring that lots of places. I can use that in a corporate setting, in my own business, inspiring my kids through conversation, role modeling that to them. I can take that zone of genius because it's flexible. It's at the core, that hub, and you start to bring it everywhere you go and you champion it. You live by it. You say, this is what I'm great at. Here's how it can apply to this situation. And people start valuing you for it, but you've got to champion it. You've got to market it yourself. You got to bring it to center. When I did that, my genius became the center of my world. I learned to harness it. I was using it everywhere, professionally and personally. Today, in my full-time business that I run as an entrepreneur, my zone of genius is at the core. I've augmented myself with other people, software, and tools so that those resources are taking care of things I'm not good at. I found the right who to figure out the how. I found other resources and tools to figure out things that I'm not good at. Instead, I'm focusing 80 to 90% of my time on a daily basis in my zone of genius, because that's where I can create the most value. What that looks like is coaching and content. I am lit up inside when I'm doing those things, when I'm bringing great coaching skills to people in service of their needs and helping them through their problems, when I'm creating content to inspire, to teach, to educate, to bring people to a new level in their life. That is my zone of genius. There's a lot of sub details there, but that's essentially where I feel on fire. And I find other ways in my business to make sure the other stuff is taken care of. So back to you. You're the focal point of this conversation as we talk about genius. You have a very specific choice. Option number one, you can squander your genius while continuing to fit the molds that other people set for you, like in corporate environments. Or you can identify and centralize your genius, making it the hub of everything that you are and do. I want you to consider this very carefully. Now, going through this process of identifying your zone of genius, pulling it to center, using it to make your current job better, using it as the foundation to build a business that excites you and makes great money, using it even in your home life. This takes a lot of work. I work with all of my clients on how to centralize their genius and how to use it in light of building entrepreneurial freedom in their world. And they all start by booking a call over at matthewdoan.com/talk. That's your entry point into doing the centralizing your genius to building entrepreneurial freedom for your world. So I urge you to book a call. In that call, we do three things together. Number one is we'll look at your current work situation to identify what's working, what's not working, and why. Secondly, we'll then get clarity on what you do want instead for both career and life. And thirdly, we can talk about the exact game plan to get you there. Of course, it includes identifying and centralizing your genius. This is one piece of the puzzle. Once you have this, you can become a different person at work in building something of your own and at home. You need this understanding. Definitely check out the show notes for that framework and how to jumpstart this on your own. But if you're looking for that boost, book a call at matthewdoan.com/talk and we'll help you out. So as you step back, I want you to take this away. Stop just gap filling weaknesses. Stop just listening to the scorecards above you. You can change the scorecards, but you need ammo. You need the ability to have the right conversations. So when you start centralizing your genius, that means you've identified it, you've gotten clear on it, and you know how to have the right conversations with people around you to say, here's how I'm going to apply my genius. Here's how everyone wins when I do that. These are the outcomes we're going to create together. You can do this in an employer setting. You can do this in building your own business. You can even do this at home and how you can be a better spouse or parent. All of these things benefit when you centralize your genius in your world. And it's your key to freedom, income, and impact, all that you crave as you build more entrepreneurial freedom in your world. So please say yes to your genius. Hit me up if I can help. Take care.
Hey, Matt here. Thanks for listening to Uncage Yourself. For show notes and more content like this, head over to uncageyourself.fm. And if you liked what you heard, I'd appreciate you leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Until next time, be well, my friend.